No one expected Ethan Cole, the youngest millionaire in the city, to walk away from everything that once gave his life meaning. At just 31, he was a symbol of ambition, a man whose name was printed in every business magazine, whose smile hid the exhaustion of endless meetings and deals. People said he had everything, but Ethan had started to believe that love, commitment, and family were traps designed to hold him back. He wanted freedom, not diapers. That line became his unspoken rule, one that would later echo through every sleepless night. The day she told him she was expecting, he felt something inside him harden. His mind raced through numbers, contracts, and the vision of a future where he couldn't move as he pleased. He didn't shout. He simply turned cold. "I can't do this," he said quietly, convincing himself it was logic, not fear. She didn't cry, not in front of him, but her silence pierced deeper than any argument. As the door closed behind her, Ethan told himself he had protected his freedom. But deep down, a voice whispered the truth. He had just lost something money could never buy. The night after she left, Ethan stared out over the glittering skyline from his glass penthouse, wondering why the city suddenly felt so empty. Success had always thrilled him, but that night, the silence pressed against his chest like a weight. Every corner of his apartment reminded him of her, the soft laughter, the quiet warmth, the scent of morning coffee that was no longer there. He told himself this was the price of freedom, yet freedom felt like punishment. Days turned into weeks, and he buried himself in work, meetings, interviews, contracts. Every task was a distraction from the ache that never faded. The more achievements he added to his name, the hollower he became. His assistant noticed the way his smile didn't reach his eyes anymore, but no one dared to ask. In the reflection of his office window, he didn't see a man at the top of the world. He saw someone who had traded love for loneliness. And for the first time, Ethan began to realize that the greatest prison was not made of walls, but of choices he could never undo. 3 years slipped away like pages torn from a calendar, and Ethan Cole had become a legend in the business world. His face filled magazine covers, his name opened doors, and his empire stretched across continents. Yet every success felt strangely silent, like applause echoing in an empty hall. People still envied him, but what no one saw were the sleepless nights when he stood by the window, staring at the world below, haunted by a pair of eyes he could never forget. One morning, while attending a charity event in the park, a rare break from his rigid schedule, he heard the sound of laughter that made him pause. It was bright, pure, and familiar in a way that tore through years of denial. His gaze followed the sound to a group of children playing near the fountain. Among them were 2 small boys with dark hair like his, and a little girl holding their hands. Something inside him froze. Then, standing beneath the old oak tree, he saw her, Emma. Time had changed her, not just in appearance but in strength. She looked peaceful, grounded, untouched by the world that had consumed him. Ethan's heart pounded, as if the years between them had never existed. He took a step forward, unsure what to say or even why he had moved at all. When she looked up and their eyes met, the world seemed to stop. It wasn't anger or surprise in her gaze. It was calm acceptance, the kind that burns deeper than hate. And in that silent moment, Ethan realized freedom had never been worth losing this. Ethan couldn't move at first. The sound of the world around him faded. The laughter, the chatter, the city hum. Everything dimmed until only that moment remained. The three children ran toward the woman beneath the tree, and when they reached her, Ethan noticed something that made his heart stumble. The little girl had his smile. The twins had his eyes. It felt like the ground slipped from beneath him as reality struck harder than any loss he had ever faced. These weren't just children. They were his. For a moment he forgot how to breathe. Emma stood as the kids clung to her hands, her expression steady but unreadable. When their eyes met again, the question escaped him before he could stop it. "Are they—" She hesitated, then nodded slowly. "Yes, Ethan, they're yours." Her voice was calm, almost too calm, and that hurt more than any anger would have. He took a step forward, guilt clawing through every layer of pride he had built over the years. "I didn't know," he whispered, though the words felt empty even to him. "You didn't want to," she replied quietly. "You chose to walk away, and I let you." Her tone wasn't sharp. It was honest, heartbreakingly so. The children looked at him with innocent curiosity, unaware of the storm that had just erupted inside him. For the first time in years, Ethan's perfect composure shattered. He had spent 3 years chasing deals and dreams, yet everything he had lost was standing right there, alive, beautiful, and beyond his reach. They sat across from each other in a quiet cafe not far from the park. The air was thick with words left unspoken, with years of silence pressing between them. Ethan's eyes kept drifting to the window, where the 3 children sat outside eating ice cream, their laughter piercing through his chest like sunlight breaking into darkness. Every giggle, every smile felt like a reminder of everything he had missed, their first words, their first steps, their birthdays. He had not been there for any of it. "You should have told me," he said softly, though he already knew it wasn't fair. Emma stirred her tea slowly, her eyes calm but tired. "And what would you have done, Ethan? You made it clear you didn't want this life." He remembered the moment vividly. His cold voice, his pride, his fear of being tied down. "I was wrong," he whispered. "I thought I needed freedom, but all I did was chain myself to emptiness." Emma looked at him, and for the first time, he saw sadness behind her calm. "I don't hate you," she said gently, "but I had to protect them from the man who thought love was a distraction." Ethan lowered his gaze, shame tightening his throat. He realized now that success without love was a hollow crown. He watched his children, his heart breaking with both joy and regret, knowing he couldn't turn back time, but maybe, just maybe, he could start again, if they let him. That evening, Ethan stood by the park's edge, watching the fading sun paint the sky in gold and crimson. The children were playing in the distance, their laughter echoing through the soft wind. For years that sound had been missing from his life, and now that he heard it, he realized how lifeless his version of freedom had truly been. Emma approached quietly, her hands in her coat pockets, the light brushing her hair like a memory reborn. "They liked you," she said softly. He turned, uncertain if he had the right to smile. "I don't deserve that," he admitted. "No one said you did," she replied, though her tone carried warmth, not anger. Silence stretched between them, filled with everything time had taken away. "Can I try?" he asked finally, not to erase the past, but to be there for them now. Emma studied him for a long moment, her eyes reflecting both the pain and strength of a mother who had learned to survive alone. "They don't need perfection," she said quietly. They just need truth. A small smile curved her lips. Start there. As the children ran toward them, Ethan knelt down, his heart trembling as 3 tiny hands reached out to him. For the first time in years, he didn't feel like a man running from life. He felt like someone finally returning home. The millionaire who once wanted freedom found something far greater, the courage to love again.